afternoon and welcome on your sunset safari, the only place in the world where you can travel on a live safari right from the center of the African bush, from the comfort of your cozy living room chair or your sofa, or indeed your bed, or in fact your office chair if you are being naughty and distracted at work. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon I have Jean-Dre on camera with me. We're coming to you live from Djuma, Arathusa and Cheetah Plains Game Reserve in the Sabi Sand in the Greater Kruger National Park of South Africa. And we are currently trying to watch an elephant. And our elephant is not making life very easy for us because he's in the middle of some very dense vegetation. It's hard to believe that an enormous animal, the biggest land mammal in the world, is able to hide so efficiently behind the leaves. But we are also an interactive safari, so if you have any questions on our elephant friend that you can see so clearly, or any comments that you'd like to make, you can send those through on #SafariLive on Twitter, or you can email through to questions@WildEarth.TV. Hello, my boy. It is a lovely balmy day with a constant threat of rain at 23 degrees centigrade, which is 73 degrees Fahrenheit. That sounded suspiciously like some kind of weather woman. I'm going to try and not do that again. And what a glorious, it actually really is lovely. We had a little bit of rain, actually had a lot of rain. When we were driving home at the end of the sunrise safari, Jean-Dre is nodding emphatically. When we were driving home at the end of the sunrise safari after, I was covered in mud by Ryan, which by the way I thought was most courageous, and he gets one free pass. One free pass because he was here as a guest. Oh, there's Brent. I think he's looking for me. That was a little bit loud. It was unfortunately loud. Hold on one moment. Standing by. I haven't even gone into the details of what we're going to be looking for this afternoon. Oh, Ellie gone.
Yeah, he walked off somewhere in there.
Copy. I'm on Gallagher shortcut now. I will make my way around there. Right, so the reason Brent was currently distracting my attention from all of you on my crucial part of my introduction, is quite alright, we forgive him already. The reason that he was trying to call me was that he's got really fresh lion tracks, so of course he's forgiven because that's really exciting. So last night, apparently, I've been kind of out of the loop because I've been sitting quiet as a mouse on the back, trying not to get in the cameraman's way. I did a good job, didn't I, Jean-Dre?
Very good.
Very good, thank you.
Sterling job.
Sterling job. Not nearly as good a job as I did on my bracelet, which I've already lost. Anyway, moving on. Last night there were some lions around the Djuma Pan that were heard hunting buffalo. So if you are a new viewer, we've got a camera up that watches a waterhole 24 hours. We've got a camera up that watches a waterhole 24 hours, 7 days a week, provided it's working, which it seems to be. And there were sounds of lionesses hunting a buffalo. They then crossed to the north of our boundary before the start of the sunrise safari. But, and here's the kicker, half an hour after we finished the sunrise safari, one of them came back, and we went to go and look for her. Because there's no better way to carry on with what I presume is a Tuesday afternoon. It's kind of difficult to keep track because, well, all our days are the same, which is wonderful, and I'm not complaining. But I never know what day of the week it is. But I think it's a Tuesday afternoon, and I can't think of a better way than to spend a Tuesday afternoon with all of you and to enjoy some special moments out here in the African bush. So let us go and see what wonderful things we can find. Aha. And while we have a look at our air elephant, which still, we might actually get a view from the hyena den now. While we just have a look at our ellies, I forgot one important, crucial part of this whole conversation, and that was while Brent and I were at home, about 400 meters away, less than 400 meters away from the Djuma Pan, there were guinea fowl going absolutely mental. And go-away birds calling. And we sort of dismissed it as an eagle, but I think we might have been wrong. Or a bird of prey, I think we might have been wrong. Dominique, there you go. That's sort of in answer to your question about what other distress calls might alert us to the presence of predators. Squirrels, alarm call at predators. Monkeys, especially, monkeys are very, very reliable. A kudu alarm call or bark, nyala bark, bushbuck bark, and elephants, even elephants like the ones that we're looking at now, can be, how do I put this? They certainly make their displeasure known in a very vocal manner when they find a predator. Even though that predator is not a threat to them, they very often trumpet and scream and make a big fuss and chase that predator away. And they were actually doing that when we set out this afternoon. It's a big herd. It's a much bigger herd than I thought. It's not just one lonely elephant hiding behind the leaves. There's grey shapes moving like ghosts behind the leaves. And perhaps our best approach, because I would love to spend a little bit of time with these elephants, they are absolutely fascinating animals, I think our best approach is to go around towards the hyena den. Since we cannot off-road for elephants at the moment, since the drought has wreaked such havoc upon the land, and we don't want to add additional pressure to it. However, there is an old road here that we can use towards the hyena den. I think we're going to go and check that. See if we can't get a better view. So for new viewers that are jumping on board and don't know terribly much about this whole concept, it is, as I said, a live safari. In my opinion, it is the best way, short of being on an actual safari, of experiencing the African bush, but I am biased, but I think I'm right anyway. It is live. These animals are 100% wild. They have become habituated or used to the presence of safari vehicles, but they are still wild animals and we treat them as such. But we do get to, we're very, very privileged in that we get to spend the majority of our day-to-day life with these magnificent creatures. And lo and behold, I think they are all at the hyena den. How marvelous. Old hyena den, by the way, not occupied at the moment. Hello, little one. Can I come through? You're going to get a fright? You're going to be good, eh? Calm. Very calm. Okay, alright. Yes, we'll just pretend that you didn't get a fright and that you were actually reaching for that branch. Sure, I'm fooled. Definitely fooled. And the fact that you just stripped a whole load of dried leaves that you had no intention of eating was not in any way pretend. I love elephants. There is something so easily relatable about them. More elephants trumpeting in the distance. And this little one. In fact, I think this might be the same herd that we had with Ryan this morning. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that it might be. Exuding a little bit of liquid from the temporal region between the eye and the ear. And what that means in terms of learning to read elephant behavior is that something has stressed this little elephant in some way. That being said, you almost always see them with some kind of secretion. They get upset at, if they get frightened by a francolin flying up next to them, then they'll start to excrete from that gland. Or if they are having a marvelous time chasing impala around, they will excrete from that gland. It's just more of a mood teller than anything else. And as our little one starts to move off into the bushes, I have been monopolizing your attention for far too long on this glorious Tuesday afternoon. Let me relieve you of our time here and send you back across to Brent. Oh, no, not back across to Brent. Send you over to Brent for the very first time this afternoon so that he can say good afternoon.
Welcome to the Sunset Safari. Look at that, a leopard-faced vulture and two white-backed vultures. Now, on a hunch, I've backtracked to where those lion tracks came from, and there's a lot of vultures here. So there might be a kill here. Leopard-faced vulture is the biggest vulture species, and not one we see too often. So I wanted to stay a little bit far away and give you a view before we go closer. And of course, Dave and I are still trying to get to 50 birds in a game drive. We're up to 25 this morning, so lucky for us, we get two species to start off the bird, but I think we might find a lion. Okay, so there's vultures all around. So we're just going to look very carefully through here. And the fact that there's a leopard-faced vulture here makes me think that it's a substantial kill. If there is a kill and it's not finished. So I just took a hunch. We don't often drive down this little area, but those lion tracks came out from this area, and those tracks that Aubrey called in this morning, I mean, we've got tracks going in all sorts of directions, and with that little bit of rain we might have missed the freshest tracks. So I think there might actually be, the Nkuhumas might have a kill somewhere in this area. Now, as I said, we don't see lappet-faced vultures too often. So I'm going to snap a quick picture. I hope you guys are doing the same. They are incredibly impressive birds. Definitely not the prettiest bird around, but impressive nonetheless. Okay, let's keep looking. So there's 4 vultures in that tree. There's another one here, and the other thing is they're sitting quite low. And then there's a bunch of vultures over there. So it is possible that somewhere around here, this morning, or how many of us were driving out? 5, 6 of us driving around, missed that. Because of the rain, we might have missed tracks. So I'm quite excited. Still looking. I'm going to do a little loop around the block, but I'm pretty convinced this many vultures. It is possible sometimes a vulture sees another vulture and just sort of descends because it thinks there's something there, but I don't know. I've just got, my gut tells me there's something going on here. And I nearly forgot, my name's Brent, and that's Dangerous Dave on camera behind me. And welcome to Safari Live. And we're on the hunt for something, hopefully, that's been hunted last night. So while we scour this area, let's go back to Jamie and the pachyderms.
Back again with us and our stunning elephant sighting. It's such a peaceful moment spent with these really amazing animals. I mean, a cow walked right up to the vehicle. Look at this girl. She is absolutely huge. She really is. She's enormous. She's old. Just look at the indents around her temporal region. See how caved in it is there. You can see she's an old girl. Big, long tusks, really thick tusks for a female. Prominent bones, prominent parts of her spine. She is absolutely the grandmother of this group. She's beautiful. Imagine what this elephant could tell. I mean, I would guess and say that she's over 40 years old. I might even stretch so far to say about 50 because she's starting to lose condition. She's starting to get a bit thin, like her teeth have worn down, and that of course happens to old elephants. They don't have any more teeth to replace their previous set, and they start to get thinner and thinner just because they struggle to completely chew their food and therefore digest it. And that is a natural process. It's a natural way of things with elephants. And I wonder if I actually don't think she would be the matriarch anymore. Usually when elephants get really old like this, even if they were the highest ranking member of the group, the leader of the group, they would usually sort of step back and let a younger elephant take that role. But I wonder if she was the matriarch once upon a time, taking care of and leading in this herd, making decisions for them, disciplining the youngsters. I wish, if there were any animal, it's okay, little girl, shame, got so distracted by feeding that she didn't realize that the whole family had moved on without her. And now she's stuck with these strange human beings. Hey, girl. Oh, itchy ankle. Oh, and they've picked the most difficult path, haven't they, girl? Quick, quick, off you pop. Go catch up with them. What I was going to say was, it's a conversation we've had a few times on various safaris, and that is absolutely, if I could spend one day being able to talk to one animal, I believe it would be an elephant. Or I suppose one day being an animal, being in the mind of an animal, but just being able to talk to them. I would love to know and understand what these animals are thinking and saying. We know a little bit. Perhaps we understand 20%, maybe if we're really optimistic 40% of what's going on in their minds. There's a great deal more that goes on. Beautiful. Well, that, I think, unless there is a straggler, which I don't think that there is. Don't think there's any straggling elephants coming behind. There might be a big bull moving through in the distance, but it doesn't look like it. That, I think, spells the end of our elephant sighting for now, because we're right in the middle. It's only thanks to this road that leads to the hyena den that we were able to follow along here. And we were only able to do that because of the road. We won't be able to follow them through here. So, for now, it spells the end of our time with elephants, but you never know, there may well be more of them around, and we will always stop and enjoy some time in their company. Alright. Oh, it's a Gallagher shortcut den. The place of the 20-point U-turn. Alright, here we go. Let's do it. Getting very practiced at this in this den. I did mention that we had a bit of a downpour earlier, and as most of you know, South Africa is in dire need of rainfall at the moment. Now, Rick, unfortunately, it's sort of what we predicted might be the case when we did see that it was going to rain. Unfortunately, we probably had about 2 mils, I think probably, 2 mils in total over the last 24-hour period. So not really, unfortunately, it's not really enough to make a huge difference, and I'll show you, because we'll probably end up at Buffelshoek Dam at some point, so I'll show you how little water, or how little the water level has changed. And especially now, unfortunately, we're at the worst stage, going into the worst stage now, because it's going to start to get hot as well as dry. So now, mid-July, it's cold, days sit around the mid-70s Fahrenheit, that's okay. But when we get to August, September, the days are going to start regularly going up to well into the high 80s, 90s in Fahrenheit. So for those of you who use centigrade, over 30 degrees centigrade. And what that means is all of the water evaporates much faster than it might otherwise. So I'm feeling a faint drizzle now. The only thing it really serves to do is make us slightly damp and slightly colder, and means we have to put the rain covers on every now and again. I don't think we need to just yet, but we're okay for now. But it still feels wonderful. It really, I mean, I don't mean to be negative, but it still feels really nice when it does rain. It's just so refreshing. It just washes away the dust layer that's been building up. The birds rejoice, the animals rejoice. It may not have made a big difference in terms of helping the trees or the grasses or the dams, but it certainly feels a lot nicer out here. Just that little bit touch of moisture in the air. And already lots of insect life, seen loads of termites out and about, birds all singing away merrily. It sounds as though while I've been distracted by elephants, Brent has been very busy doing something. Let us head across and hear from him what he's been doing in order to enrich your safari experience.
Look at this. We found the whole Nkuhuma pride, and not only are the older cubs, the younger cubs are here as well. So all 6 Nkuhuma cubs are here. Now the lioness is calling them. They were sleeping in the little thicket there. She's calling them. She's walking down. I've just had a few glimpses of them. The older cubs are there. You can see them on the floor where those lionesses are. But the little guys are also here. So they did catch a buffalo. It looks like they've eaten quite a lot of it already. So it was just in a deep drainage line, and thank you to the vultures. And so I think the rain, we missed some of the tracks. Let's just try have a look where the cubs are. see. Are those the older cubs or the little cubs? Those look like. Oh, there's still some cubs at the back there, Dave. Oh, they're the little ones. They're the little ones. To the right. And zoom. Over to the left. Oh, I think they're just behind the tree for you. There we go. You can see that little bit of movement there. They're the tiny little cubs. Mom's calling them back to come up to the buffalo kill now. Oh, look at that. Hello, little ones. Okay, Mom's going to probably bring them back to the buffalo kill. So what we're going to do is go wait there and let them come to us. Always very important, let the car run for a second so they get used to the sound of vehicles. Oh, it looks like Mom's going to stop for some feeding. I'm just going to try to get into a good position. Isn't this exciting? Look at this. So the cubs have been introduced at a younger age than the other cubs to the rest of the pride. Let's have a look. Mom's calling them. There's one of the older cubs that's more used to the vehicles. We're just gonna... There's one of the littlies. Listen to them. Mom's going to call them up. How's that, Dave? They should come up to us now. They're playing, actually chasing each other around. Yeah, they come, Dave. Yeah, come the little ones. Hello. So there are the littlies. Oh, so cute. Where's my camera? They're so fluffy. There they come back again with Mom. They got a fright when a vulture took off. And this is one of the older cubs with the mom of the little ones. Oh, isn't that sweet? And here we go. This is one of the, it's like the older ones walking straight up to us. Oh, they are so cute, the little fluffies. So this is one of the older ones. The little one's a little bit off to the left. They just got a fright when some vultures took off. And the vultures actually look like they're having an argument. And you can see they're chasing each other around. Not those ones. There we go, there's one coming in. Oh, there we go, she's lying down. She's going to call the cubs up to her now. We're just going to sit very quietly here next to them. And the little guys are so fascinated. They're just watching the vultures fly around. Come, littlies. So these are the three that were at Buffels Hook, in the drainage line that flows into Buffels Hook Dam. And it's incredible how fast they grow. Lion's milk is so rich in protein. And I know I said this yesterday, and it's a little bit unfair to the sticks, but I definitely think the Nkuhuma cubs are better looking. See, they're getting more comfortable. Just a pity that very big leopard-faced vulture took off at the wrong time. And see that? Mom's going to call them again now. So I think this is probably their first excursion out of a den. That could account for their slight nervousness. I can see two of them. Can you see through the little gap there? Where is he? I think a little bit too much to the right, slightly. Oh, it's just behind the bush for you. Oh. We're just going to sit here very patiently. Judith says she doesn't think it was the vultures. It might have been my squeal of excitement. Well, that too, Judith, coupled with the fact of a dark shape hovering above. And a leopard-faced vulture is a very big animal. I'm just going to... You got a gap there, Dave? Let's see, there's... I think it's... Just go in here. There. There they are. So they are coming back out of the thing. I'm sure Mom's going to start calling again shortly. Or the other option is one of the cousins is stalking them. And there we go. That little one there, look. That, oh no, lay down. Now, Lael's wondering, would a large vulture, like the leopard-faced vulture, be able to take a cub? Now, they have been recorded hunting before, but it is very unusual behavior. But yes, a vulture of that size would be able to take off with a little baby lion cub. Very, very unusual, especially if there's a carcass around. And I think if they tried and get a very angry mom, I've actually seen a lioness catch a vulture midair as it was harassing her around a carcass. So we are going to have to be a little bit patient, and I'm pretty sure they're going to come up again. And watching Mom carefully.
She's got one behind Mom.
Oh yeah, that's another one of the older ones. Hi, Robert. Robert's wondering, what is the average number of cubs a lioness normally has? I'd say probably average 2. They can have as many in the wild. I think the most ever recorded is 6 in Kenya. And I mean, those Styx lionesses, they had 4, which is quite a large litter. 2 or 3, and sometimes even 1. But I'd say on average it's probably 2. Oh, she's calling. Sorry, I've just got to be on the game drive. Afternoon, Aubrey. Got Nkuhuma on Nyaribamba off Weaver's Nest next to Pangolin Track Junction. Myself here, Vernon making his way. Making a 2-vehicle sighting. They're very small mampimpans, so there's 6 mampimpans here at the moment. Oh, also here. wait. It's nearly Palila though, but it was a big Mufuzzy. Here come the little ones. Here they come, here they come, here they come. Copy, thanks, Orbs. Hello, cousin. There you go. Look at that, isn't it just too cute saying hello to cousin? It's gonna come up to mom now. They're gonna start running. You can hear them begging. Oh, there we go. Now, guys, this is I reckon the first time the cubs have been introduced to the pride, and they're no more than about 10 feet from us. I think she might want to take them to the kill to get them to start eating meat. So it's going to be, see, they're going to follow mom. They're going to walk literally about 3 feet from us. Look at this little thing. Hi, guys. So this is the first time they've come close to a car. Look at them. They're watching carefully. We're going to go with the bigger cousin, feeling a bit safer there. Here comes the third of the small ones. Now they're literally right behind Dave. They're watching us. Look at them. Oh, they're so cute. Scamper, scamper. So I'm not going to move the car yet. I'm going to let them get towards the buffalo carcass where they feel comfortable before I move. This is one of the older ones. So, oh, ow. So awesome. So this is incredible. Okay, I'm just going to wait for all the cubs to be next to the mothers before I move the car. Okay, so while I'll wait for them to settle down, we're going to go back to Jamie and the elephants, and then I'm going to get us into a good spot to see all the greeting that's going to be happening shortly.
I am both terribly jealous and also really truly thrilled that you have got to experience that sighting with Brent. Okay, I'm a lot jealous. So is Jandre. Jandre is a lot jealous as well. But that's okay, because we've got the elephants as well, so what could be better than bouncing between lions and elephants, the two best animal... No, that's not what I mean. The two sort of most famous animals of the African bush. I have to ask you, before we talk about our lovely elephant bull, what you think is funnier, the antics of the cubs, or do you think that Brent's reaction to the cubs is funnier? Because I hear that there's much squealing. To quote Jerry, who is directing us on this lovely afternoon, to quote Jerry, Brent is being such a girl about this sighting. So obviously there's some seriously entertaining things happening there. Well, he has decided, back to our elephant bull, that he wants this branch, and he absolutely is going to have it. Really lovely example there of the tusks and trunk being used in conjunction with each other to break that tree apart. Very, very efficiently done. In the space of 2 seconds, the bush willow was lost about a third of its size. And now, like most of the elephants at the moment, he's popped it into his mouth to perform that conveyor belt-like chewing motion. Aww. Come on, boy. You could do better than that. Ah, there we go, back in. It's okay. We all make a mess when we eat every now and again. And what he's going to do is chew the bark off of this particular branch. And what I'm hoping he's going to do, although... Oh, okay. Fine, fair enough. I'm just going to throw it down. Disregard it. Obviously wasn't the yummy branch he thought. Going to try this one instead. Yeah, not worth the effort. He's going to eat the leaves instead. We're munching away upon his bush willow. Oh, no, he doesn't want those either. Oh, you fusspot. What is it you're after? A bull elephant that is trailing a breeding herd. Not the ones that we encountered earlier, a different herd of elephants. There have just been elephants everywhere at the moment, which we are most definitely not complaining about. I'm just going to thoroughly enjoy. And a lot of them are being followed by these large bulls. And he's still young, from what I can see of him. Still a young gentleman. No, and he's decided he's going to take his bush willow and walk away. Now, I would hate to keep you away from those lion cubs for longer than necessary, so let us head back across so that you can watch lion cubs and hear Brent squeal.
Look at that, isn't that just to die for? Now, I'm going to just be patient. The little cubs keep moving way down towards the drainage system, and that's why I think it's the first time that they've been introduced to the pride. There goes Mom, got to go fetch them again. They were with her, and they move away. They got bullied a little bit by a cousin. Anyway, she's calling them again. Can just hear her calling them. But then the other ones are having a normal rough and tumble. Hi, Jean in North Carolina, and Jean's wondering, is there a buffalo? There it is. The retired buffalo, young male by the looks of things. And Jean is wondering if this is the one they might have heard on Djuma cam last night. Jean, I think this is a bit far from the Djuma cam, so I think they might have attempted it on the Djuma cam and not succeeded. Oh, the baby's coming back. They're listening to Mom. They're about to pop into that gap there. So just there they are. So as soon as the cousins start getting a little bit sort of rough, they're not really used to it. Mom will call for them again now shortly. I definitely think this is probably the first day that these cubs have been introduced to the pride. I'm just going to move forward a tiny bit. How's that, Dad? There we go. So you can see the three older ones getting stuck in. Listen to that noise. Hungry little tykes. Look at that. Look at that. Sorry I'm being a bit quiet. I'm just watching carefully what's going on. Mom's off to go call. Look at that. Sorry guys, just got to be on the game drive quickly. Yeah, standing by. That taxi, you can make your way to Aubrey as well if you don't want to go down to CP. I'll make space for you and I'll just come back later. So guys, there's quite a big queue waiting to see these little cubs, and because it's the cubs are young and it's the first time that they've been introduced to the pride, so they're a little bit nervous still. Mom's wandered off to fetch them. Can you see Mom still, Dave?
I don't.
I think she's just behind. Yeah, there, she's coming back with them. There she is. Copy. Look at that. Oh, there's 2. Now where's number 3? So I think that single lioness that appeared on the Djuma cam probably went for a drink on her way to fetch these cubs and bring them to this buffalo carcass. So at about 2 o'clock, Jamie and I heard a lot of alarm calls below our house, and I think it was this lioness taking the little cubs to here. Now, if we look above where the lions are, there's another vulture species for the birds, right above them. There we go. So the third vulture species, a hooded vulture. Okay, so I'm just going to reposition so we can get a better view, hopefully, of the tiny little ones. I'm going to still keep my distance from them. It's fine when they come in, but it's, for us, if they come towards us, it's okay. But if we force them or drive too close to them, it might cause them to run away again. So I'm going to keep my distance. If they come close to us, that's grand. But of course, we want to get these guys habituated as possible. So while we move around slowly, we're going to go across to Jamie, and I've got to just be on the Game Drive channel. Sorry, Taxi, you'll see me from Wheeler's Nest.
Oh, we're still with our lovely elephant herd, and just have a look at this girl before she disappears off into Buffelshoek. She's missing, I would say, what is that, about 2/3, probably even more, of her right ear. And I was just about to reposition to get you a good view before this little bull decided that he wants to come running across the road, and I don't want to scare him off, because it's obviously her calf that's coming through. So off you go, little one. I'm sorry, my beanie's ridiculously in the way this afternoon. It's all been very tragic since the demise of the pom-pom beanie. Okay, that's a bit better. Now we can reposition just to have a look at that ear, because it is fascinating, and I would love to know, where are you going now, boy, before I do turn on. Now I could go forward, but all it would do was actually unsettle this gentleman who's decided to come carrying his lunch with him, and food on the go, which is what a lot of the elephants are doing at the moment. He's got one tusk. We've got an elephant with less than half an ear, and one tusked elephant bull. What happened to you, boy? How did you lose that tusk? He might have been born without it, but it's very unlikely since he already has one tusk. It might just be that he snapped it off in some way, broke it. There might even have been a fault or a crack in the tusk when he was born, that then whenever he tried to use it for its usual tusk jobs, such as digging or snapping a branch or something similar, it might have come off in that kind of an accident. This female, on the other hand, I don't know what would have happened to her ear. It's fascinating. I've seen a few of them around, but I would say you don't see them that often. And it's clearly, that is clearly an injury. She wasn't born that way. Something caused her ear to tear off like that. Now, my suspicion, one of the thoughts I had, was perhaps she had a nasty cut, because a lot of the elephants have nicks and tears in their ears. The skin's much thinner than it is on the rest of their bodies. So I thought maybe she might have had a cut that got infected, because infection can eat away like that. And that might have done it. But honestly, I'm really not sure. Maybe even a lucky escape from a lion. It's possible. In their long lives, there's lots of things that could have happened to her. That I don't think, unlike our snared trunk elephant, our short trunk ellie that we've come to know and love, that I don't think is human-made or inflicted. Human-inflicted, I think, is a better word. I think that just happened naturally. But I'd love to know what it is, because it makes her so incredibly distinctive. Has she only got one tusk as well? There's no tusk on the left there, is there? No, there isn't. So one tusk and less than half an ear. What's happened to you, my girl? Alrighty. I know that Brent's time with those lions may well be limited. And what we're going to do is we're going to send you back across to Brent and his pile of lions.
So we're just sitting here very patiently. You can see all the adults have got nice big full bellies and looking particularly healthy at the moment. The Nkuhuma ladies. Oopsie. They're all calling. And you see the lionesses, when she lifts her head like that, she's actually looking at a vulture. Now, if a vulture happened to come try land around this carcass, they would probably get quite upset. Now, the normally very relaxed cubs are a little bit nervous, and that's just because of the behavior of the little ones that aren't used to cars. So they obviously think that the little ones have seen something that they haven't seen, so they start behaving a little bit nervously. But this is how you habituate them. Just sit quietly and let them come to you. So both Taxon and myself are sitting quite far away from the little cubs, and we'll just wait to see if they come close to us like they did a little earlier, and that was absolutely incredible. So that's Mom of the older cubs, and they've gone to join the little cubs, but Mom is calling them back. Oof, flop. Now, Sarah's wondering, would the females leave the little cubs together when they go hunt, or would they separate the older and younger? They would leave them together. Now that they've joined the pride, you can hear the great go-away birds when they've spotted the lion as she stood up and walked a little bit. So they were alarm calling at her. So it's really awesome. The Nkuhumas are going to be bolstered by 6 little ones. Hopefully all of them make it through to adulthood. And it's going to be interesting to see how many boys, how many girls. Now, for the success of the Nkuhuma pride, more girls is better. Because boys are quite dangerous to have around, especially because of male lion coalitions and takeovers. But little girls are the future of the pride. I'm guessing there are at least 3 girls, I'm hoping. Maybe even 4, but if there are, then that would put the Nkuhumas quite close to 10, which is a big pride for the Sabi Sands area. So we're just going to sit quietly and patiently. I'm pretty sure the cubs will come back, but as I often say, patience is the most important weapon when you want to get those really good sightings. And being out in the bush, you do learn patience. Sorry about the shuffling, I'm just trying to move something without making too much noise. Here we go. All sorted. Oh, and flat she goes. She's happy that the cubs are safe. They're with the other lioness a little bit further away. And as I said, we're not going to push. We want those cubs to be nice and relaxed. And the best way is to just sit quietly and patiently. Hi, James. And James is talking about the fact that we mentioned that the Nkuhumas were on there. Look, here we go. There they're coming back, playing. See them? Oh, wonderful. So often it's just taking the time to sit patiently and wait, and she will bring the cubs back to the pride. Now, James, to answer your question, look at them. Oh, they're so cute. The reason they didn't stay on that elephant carcass for too long, it's really risky, because that's a sort of source of meat that'll be around for a long time, and lots of vultures and things there, and it will attract, quite often will easily attract a nomadic male lion, and that's a huge threat to the cubs. So they normally will never spend too much time on a big carcass like an elephant. That's going to be there for sort of over 5 days, and especially if they've got young cubs like these with them. Oh, it's so cute. Running after Mom. There's Mom there. I think she's gone to fetch the third cub. Disciplining. So Georgianne is wondering what's the approximate age difference between the two sets of cubs. Probably say about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. Georgianne. It's very difficult to be exact. And here we go, here comes Mom. So the cubs should follow her. Get ready with those screenshots. So, there we go. Look at that. They're so cute. Oh man, yeah, they come. They're coming right up to us. Again, this is where it's important. You let them come to you, and you don't force yourself to them. And all the cubs are coming back. Listen to them, you can hear them. Unbelievable little guys. Hey guys. Got lots of cousins to play with now. Checking each other out. So how many we got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's still one cub missing. I think it's one of the older ones. Standing by. I think so, Tex. Sorry guys. Oh, firm, yeah, there's 3. Yeah, I'm not sure, but there's the 3 new ones. They're not as relaxed as the bigger ones. Sorry guys, just chatting to Tax. So Tax has got an interesting theory that these could be different cubs than the ones at Buffelshoek. I firm now down towards the Shkova. Okay. So guys, we're going to make space now. We will try come back a little bit later, but we have had such a fantastic sighting of them. So the next vehicle's coming in, and it looks like they're going to go asleep now at the moment. Oh, it's just too cute. I hate to leave them, but we must share, and we can come back a little bit later. So while we make our way out of here, I'll definitely try come back a little bit later. Remember, we can't stay till too late because we don't put spotlights on cubs. But while we make our way out and give Vernon a chance, let's go and see how Jamie's faring.
I've just been pottering about. We can't all have a magical lion sighting with cubs sort of bumbling up and down. What did Brent call them on the fireside chat? The delectable little monsters, I believe it was. His delectable little monsters sound absolutely adorable. Anyway, we haven't been up to too much. We're heading across to Djuma Dam because, surprise, surprise, there's some more elephants there, and I want to go and have a look at them. A nice open patch. The rest of our elephants have gone north into Buffelshoek. Just going to turn that Game Drive channel down. Now, yesterday afternoon we had the lovely Taylor on her interview drive here, and we went over this bumpy patch of dried up mud on this road that's always been incredibly uncomfortable to drive on. And she called it an African massage, which I thought was hilarious. I think I'm going to steal that. I'm going to steal that line. It's a very good one. So there we go, African massage. How does that feel, Jean-Andre? Like you've just come back from the spa? Fantastic. Rejuvenated. It's a very nice way of putting pumping up and down. So, you know, the bush is full of spa treatments. I have my muddy facial this morning, whether I wanted to or not. We had the bumpy road massage. We should be marketing this. People would pay us money. Oh wait, they do. It's called a safari. Never mind. So moving on through these drainage lines. I haven't really got a plan for this afternoon. The last 2 drives I've just been on the back of the vehicle with 2 different people that are completely new to this area. Thoroughly enjoyed the time spent with them. However, it does mean that I've sort of lost track of where everything is because I haven't had a radio or a Game Drive channel or anything like that. I'm just reacquainting myself with the area from this driver's seat as opposed to from the back and seeing what we can see, which is not elephants just yet. There is a buffalo on the other side, but there are no elephants. I bet they've gone into the drainage line system. It looks as though they might have moved off, but that's okay. We will go off in search of other things. I believe I promised a visit to Buffelshoek Dam to investigate how the water level is doing, so we might go and head across there at some point. I didn't check that I can't see these eddies, but I don't think so. I think they've gone into that really thick patch. Oh well. It's not as though we haven't been spoiled with elephants already, so let's move on and head across to Buffelshoek Dam. I'm not sure if Brent was chatting about Taxon's conversation with him on the Game Drive comms. Taxon isn't convinced that those younger cubs are the ones that we've been seeing at Buffelshoek Dam. Oh, exciting stuff happening with our wonderful lions. Might just mean that lioness was able to might just mean that she was able to keep those cubs alive. So essentially, we always suspected that there were 3 rather than 2 sets of Nkuhuma cubs, because there were 3 lionesses. No, we knew. There were 3 lionesses with suckle marks. But the one was busy mating with one of the Birmingham boys, clearly trying to get away from him. 2 of the Birmingham boys, actually. First one and then another. And we weren't sure, because Steph saw that the suckle marks had mostly dried up when he had her mating with the Birmingham all the way on the eastern side of the reserve. Now, he suspected he thought it was possible that she'd lost her cubs. I wasn't so sure. I thought that perhaps it was just sort of post-birth hormones confusing the male, and the female just instinctively reacting to the signals that he was giving her. And that, of course, combined with the fact that a lot of females do mate with males when they've just had cubs, because it just enforces that message to the male lion. Because male lions they're very basic creatures, like quite simple creatures in terms of the way that they go about things, and it just reinforces to them that they mustn't kill these cubs because they're theirs, just in case they needed a little bit of a reminder. So females often mate with males after they've given birth. Leopards do it as well, apparently. I've never seen it, but apparently they do. So it's interesting. We haven't confirmed it, obviously, but that's actually one of the reasons why I'm on my way to Buffelshoek Dam, because I want to just go and investigate and see whether there's any sign of the lioness going into that drainage line. I assume you had all 5 there at the buffalo carcass, but it's worth going to check either way. And we'll only really know when we see 3 sets of cubs together, so whether or not she's managed to keep them. But Brent seems to think that these cubs are a bit too, or Taxon actually, seems to think that these cubs are a bit too skittish to be the ones we've been watching at Buffelshoek Dam. But who knows? I certainly hope so. I'd also really like it if we could spot an animal for you. They're all hiding. Miserable. It's actually not miserable weather. There's a big waterbuck.
There's a yellow behind.
While we look at our lovely bull, who has frozen under the, not anymore, I was going to say under the force of the fierce focus of our camera, just before we chat a bit about him. Ryan, you are absolutely right. Jean-Andre said exactly the same thing, funnily enough, and that was, since Brent found leopard cubs, lion cubs, sorry. I now have to find leopard cubs in order to make him jealous. Very valid point, and I can promise you that I will be doing my utmost to deliver upon that. But for now, true to every single drive I've done over the last few days, we have a waterbuck. It seems to be the relatively standard pattern for my drives over the last few days. Lots and lots of, basically what I'm telling you is there's lots of waterbuck around. More waterbuck actually than I expected to see in this area, especially as we go into the drought. Beautiful big bull with his heart-shaped nose, and actually quite a large indentation between his 2 horns. And I love sightings like this. He's really nice and relaxed. It's actually quite unusual to have them this close. It gives us a really nice opportunity to examine him from the ridges along his horns, which are quite awesome. Obviously they're smooth out, so the ridges at the bottom are much more prominent than the ridges at the top, and that's because it grows, obviously the horn grows out from the bottom of his skull and then upwards towards the tips, and it causes those ridges to smooth out through wear as they get closer to the top. He's also got a few battle scars on his sides, potentially injuries from, actually he got to turn a little bit more sideways for me to be able to show you what I mean, but he does have some scars, some holes in his coat, and as I said, potentially from a battle with another waterbuck. And like all of our animals out here, whilst he is relaxed and feeding, constantly on alert for the possibility of a predator. I haven't seen that waterbuck that we saw a couple of days ago on our live safari, on our sunrise safari. Female with a torn ear that had obviously had a narrow escape from predators. Not sure which predators, but definitely a narrow escape. And now our waterbuck bull giving us a lovely view of his white circle on his bottom. One of those bizarre mysteries of the bush. Why the waterbuck has a ring around its bottom. Nobody really knows. Supposedly it's a follow me, basically what they call a follow me sign. I'm not 100% convinced that I buy that. And his tail working furiously to get rid of the flies. A part of the lechwe family, or related to the lechwe, and recently I read a really interesting article about, now lechwe is not an animal we get here. It is more towards the wetland areas of Botswana and into Zambia, the river systems. They're much more geared towards a much, well, similar to the waterbuck actually, much more riverine area. And there's a recorded case now of a lechwe breeding with a waterbuck, which is really fascinating. Makes sense. Very closely connected to each other in terms of their level of relatedness, but obviously more so than we realized. It sometimes happens with Tsetsebi and Hartebeest as well, that they interbreed. Some of the members of the antelope tribes are so closely related to each other that they do manage to breed with each other. Almost inevitably, those offspring are infertile, similar to a horse and a donkey breeding and producing a mule, because the chromosomes don't quite match up. Right, thank you, Mr. Waterbuck. I think we're going to move on. Leave you to your afternoon, late afternoon tea, I suppose. Nibbling next to the termite mound. Actually, this is quite a beautiful scene. Really striking, with the tree that is going to die. The elephants have made short work of that, stripping away its bark. And that tree is finished. And it's sad in a way, because this tree is probably, I don't know, I'm no expert at aging trees, but if I had to guess, I would say that this tree is a good 30, 40 years old. And the elephants have removed the bark around it, stripped the bark away. And then a little tree at the base of the termite mound, a little bush. It has an enormous relative, a huge tree that Ryan spoke about this morning on the sunrise safari, but this is its little cousin, the dwarf boerbein. There we go. The dwarf boerbein. No, dwarf boerbein. I've appear to have lost my ability to actually get the sounds in words where I want them, which is quite a problem. And welcome to Mohammed. Before we actually leave our waterbuck, Mohammed would like to know, because Mohammed is aware that there is a distinct smell to the waterbuck, but was wondering if that is a defense mechanism. You are absolutely right. There is a very, very distinct smell, and Jandra and myself can smell this waterbuck from where we are sitting. He has a gentle, James describes it as a goat smell, and I think he's absolutely spot on, although it's like an oily goat. That's what it smells like, an oily goat. And it's not a defense mechanism. It actually comes from the glands within the skin itself, the sebaceous glands. They secrete an oil that waterproofs the fur, because waterbuck, as their name suggests, often spend a lot of time in water. So it waterproofs the waterbuck, kind of like a waterbuck wetsuit. But it does mean that they do start to smell, because it's got a very, very pungent odor. That, however, has no effect on whether or not the predators like to eat it. No, they're not like us. They don't have the same senses of smell or taste that we do. Yes, their sense of smell is very sensitive, but they are not revolted by the same things as we are. Now, there is a rumor that the lions and leopards don't eat waterbuck because they smell funny, and it makes the meat taste funny. It's not true. Their meat presumably tastes like any other animal's meat, and the smell doesn't bother the lions one little bit. They certainly cannot, no animal can afford to be fussy out here in terms of what they choose to feed on. So whilst the waterbuck are smelly, it is not a defense mechanism. Alright, so while our fluffy waterbuck continues his meal, Brent has had to leave the lions. I wonder what his plans are from here.
So we are checking for Queen Karula. Queen Karula is the dominant female leopard here on Djuma. And I'm just checking along the southern edge of our traverse area. Suicide! Suicide! Oh no, we just missed it. Sorry about that, I got so excited. It was a suicide bird doing the suicide dance. So it's a red-crested Koran. I'll show you a picture of one now. And at this time of the year, to impress the ladies, the males do the suicide dance. So they take off, they fly directly into the air, and they just close their wings, and they plummet, and just before they get to the top of the trees, they open up again and land on the ground. And whoever opens the lowest to the ground is obviously the most daring, most dangerous. Ooh, we got some birdies. And, oopsie. And obviously the most daring bird gets the girls. But we've got some lovely little birds here. Did you see them, Dave? No, I don't. I've just lost sight of them now. You got them. Very cute little things called blue waxbills. Little seed eaters. I think that's bird species number 4 for this evening. Very, very cute little guys. Now what else? I thought I saw another bird just beyond. Let's move forward a weensy little bit. But look how close this one is, Dave. And not often that these little guys stay so close. And we've got the birding camera with us at the moment. Look at that. Whoa. See how they're feeding off little grass seeds. They've fallen off the stalks. I said, very, very nice to see them this close. Normally, they're a little bit far away. Oh, Dave, I've got another bird for you. In this tree here. The bigger one. And, oh, I've lost, there he is. See him hopping? Just so zoom left-hand side, yeah. There you go. That's a southern black tit. Little insectivore, feeds off spiders and insects. How's it for? Good, thanks. Any updates from your side? Okay. Nkuhuma's here on Vuetela. Nyoni. Any sign of Karula? We haven't had Nkonzo for 2 or 3 days. Oh, she's avoiding us. So they've seen no sign of Karula in the south. We've seen no sign of Karula in the north. I wonder where she could be. Oh, the light is fighting to break through the cloud. This lovely, soft, diffused light we're experiencing at the moment. Now, the last tracks of Karula were down around Twin Dams, Elephant Carcass area, which is just down there, basically, in that area down there. But maybe she's got a kill in the middle of the bush and we haven't seen her. I'm going to take a little meander around there, have a look with binos and all the trees. Sorry, just going to be on the game drive quickly. Standing by, tax. Negative, I didn't see them, Nis. Copy, thanks very much. Okay, it sounds like there's some hyenas that have arrived around the lions, but we're going to go see what else we can find, and then we will be back a little later. Oh, just before we go across to Jamie, another one for the bird list. Off it goes. Oh, there it goes. I don't know if we can count that, Dave. What do you think? Oh, there's another one there. On the edge there. It's a southern black. A little bit closer to us. Have you got one? That is a southern black flycatcher. There we go. Can you hear them calling? Very cool little calls. But, while we continue our endeavours searching for birds and beasts, let's go see what Jamie's been up to.
I'm going to continue on my endeavour to search for birds and beasts. We have left our waterbuck for now. He trotted off into the distance. And Jean-Andre hopped off to go and smell the termite mound to see if he could get the smell of waterbuck imprinted in his brain. No smell. Jean-Andre says you can't smell him. Jean-Andre thinks he might have showered before he went past. He did. Oh, it did rain. You are right, actually. Very valid point. So perhaps that's why he's not as pungent as he might otherwise be. Okay. Continuing on our bumbling adventures, I think we're going to go through to Buffelshoek Dam and see what's cracking there. There's always something interesting happening at Buffelshoek Dam. And of course, as Ryan said, we need to find leopard cubs now. Brent's done the lion cubs, it's time for us to do the leopard cubs. Feels like it's been a really, really long time since we've seen Karula, the female leopard with her two adorable little cubs. Jean-Andre spotted something. I have not spotted something. What have you seen, Jean-Andre? Oh! Well done, Jean-Andre. Very impressive. Most impressive. He's a huge warthog. The one thing that Ryan and Taylor kept commenting on while they were with us, and I'm going to reposition for a view of this warthog in a moment, is the sheer size of the warthog in the Northern Sabi Sand. And they really are absolutely enormous. The sows and the boars alike. Very, very big, unusually big warthogs in the Northern Sabi Sand. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just genetic stock that happens to favour slightly bigger individuals. You wouldn't think so, because the food supply here is not quite as good as it, or as rich as it might be in the areas towards the rivers. Stay, Warty. Stay, Warty. Come on. You're a huge warthog. Big, big warthog. Jeepers. It's a female as well. It's incredible. Look at the size of her tusks. Ooh. She is absolutely enormous. And those very, very long tusks, a product of genetics and also a product of age, since warthogs' tusks do, like elephants, it's just a branch, like elephants, grow throughout their lives. Let's try and get another view of her, because she's huge. It's also been really nice to enjoy some more relaxed warthog sightings over the last few months. In the years, well, just over a year since I started working here, it really feels as though the warthogs have got more relaxed in our presence. Not all of them, of course, but we have been able to have more nice, long warthog sightings. Oh, girl, you're making life difficult. It's okay. I'm actually going to try and go past her and then stop just ahead of her. Supposedly one of the ugliest animals of the African bush. I think with their luxurious blonde mane, it's a rather unfair reputation that they have. Okay, look, they're not winning any beauty contests, but they are truly fascinating, and I don't think they're ugly. Or maybe you could call them so ugly that they're a bit cute. Their bristly, thick hair. When they get a fright, there's a reason that they have those manes. So essentially, when they get a fright, when they get scared, they do what's known as piloerection, similar to the Nyala when they do their display. And what that does is it puffs up their mane of hair, and it makes them, if you think about how long that mane is, some of the hair on that is sort of this long. If that stands up, that creature that the predator is now looking at has almost doubled in size all of a sudden. And that makes them look far scarier. And so they are, actually, with their sharp tushes. Their tusks are used for digging. They're not all that sharp or dangerous. But the lower teeth, the lower tusks, are where the warthog's truly deadly secret lies. And they can be responsible for some relatively serious injuries. Off she goes. A solitary sow, living all on her own. You usually find the females in family groups, but it must be that this year's offspring didn't survive, and that she finds herself without companionship for now. Okay, bye girl. She's on her way. I think that would be the last good view we got of her. But it is fascinating that both Taylor and Ryan on their drives remarked about the size of our warthogs here in general. I don't know what it is about the Northern Sabi Sands. The only thing I can suggest is that it's genetic stock. That they just happen to be bigger than the other warthogs. But I have seen some males here that must weigh close to about 100 kilograms. So 220 odd pounds. Very stocky animals. Chandra is on form, except my beanie is not. It's in the way. Chandra has spotted a yellow-billed hornbill to keep us busy. I wonder what... I love watching the way that they move their heads. Because, of course, they've got that enormous blind spot in the front of their face. They've got their eyes on either side for good peripheral vision. But their front-on vision is, well, non-existent, essentially. A blind spot in front of their nose. So if you watch the way that they're constantly tilting their head to spot something, and oh, I think he spotted something. Where'd he go? Oh, there he's on the ground. Oh, if I reposition now, he's going to fly away, I think. Let me try. Let's try. I think he caught something. Let's go see. That's what I mean. It's using the very keen, and birds do have really good eyesight. They've got better eyesight than we do. And we see, and I can't remember, what do we see? How many frames per second do we see in John Dre? Do you know? As a cameraman? Oh, it's there, by the way.
It's behind the bush.
Behind the bush?
Yeah. Look on the monitor. It's behind the bush.
How is that physically possible? Are we looking at the same bird?
On the one on the ground, but he's eating something.
That one?
Ah, no, we're looking at a different bird.
You had me seriously impressed that somehow I was beginning to think I'd developed X-ray vision there.
Sorry about that.
It's quite alright. It's absolutely fine. I've got to keep me on my toes, Andre. That, of course, was just to make sure that I'm working on my camera angles and so on. Oh, you were looking at that one. I see. Most impressive. Sorry, what was that? 64, did you say?
60.
Around 60 frames per second. And I think birds see in double that. So I can't remember exactly how it works, but they've got the most incredible eyesight when it comes to movement, which is, of course, how they catch their prey. Here we go. I think this time Jean-Dre and I are on the same page in terms of hornbills. There's two hornbills in case you needed clarifying. One is a red-billed hornbill, and that is the one that we're looking at the moment. Right. Bravo, Jean-Dre. You definitely had me phenomenally confused.
I wonder why you popped us behind the bush.
Yeah, of course. Sheer confusion from our side. Look, there's a yellow-billed. It's there. Here we go. Oh, there. Going down to exactly where the red-billed hornbill is. Interesting. Sorry, just a small observation there. Yellow-billed, whilst they're almost exactly the same size as the red-billed, they are that little bit bigger and a little bit more dominant over the red-billed hornbill. So you saw how that yellow-billed flew in, and immediately the red-billed took off and moved away and gave it space. You've got a very clear hierarchy between the yellow-billed and the red-billed hornbills. And you can see that just in terms of their beak size. And the red-billed just ever so slightly smaller. And isn't it interesting the way that they've evolved two different species that are so similar to each other? I mean, their colouring is essentially the same, except for their beaks, their bills. And the shape of the bill is exactly the same, it's just the size. With red-billed having slightly thinner and yellow-billed having a slightly fatter bill. And I don't know what it is that has led to that evolutionary difference, but there clearly must have been something that caused two different species to evolve in exactly the same habitat. They obviously have a common ancestor, that much is clear, and the grey hornbill actually. We can't really discount it. The grey hornbill is exactly the same size with a grey beak. And they don't breed with each other. They live in the same habitat, they eat the same food, and yet we've got three different species with three different coloured beaks. What on earth provided the selection pressure to evolve three different coloured beaks? I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that question. It's just something, these are the funny questions that come into one's mind. It is, of course, half the joy of driving out here. One of the biggest reasons why we enjoy doing the job that we do is that we know we don't know everything. Not anything, we don't know everything. And it keeps us well and truly entertained constantly. I'm also kind of hoping, Karula's been making a few forays up into this section of the reserve. I'm also hoping that with the presence of the lions, instead of going south, which is what I think she's probably done, I'm hoping that she might have come north instead. This is where the mating lion pair was, actually. Is it worth stopping yet, Jandre? You did mention that it's going to be a stunning sunset. We're nowhere near sunset just yet, but we do have quite a nice view. The sky is thoroughly dramatic. Clouds, of course, always make everything much more moody and atmospheric. As does the cry of the arrow-marked babbler. Oh, noisy birds. Very cool. The interesting thing while we've been sitting, and it is nice when you're in the bush to just stop and sit and listen every now and again, because it does provide you with clues as to what's happening around you and where all the animals might be. But what's been interesting while I've just been sitting listening to these arrow-marked babblers cackle on, and I'm actually going to turn around and see if I can't find one for you. I can hear 4 different groups of babblers. You won't be able to hear it, obviously, because of the way in which the mic is situated. But you might be able to hear some louder and some softer. And essentially, there's 4 different groups of them all babbling at each other. That's hence the name arrow-marked babbler. It is a bird.